When it comes to one of the most whispered questions in relationships, does size really matter? It's time we replace myths with measurable truth. For too long, men have carried silent insecurities and women have been stereotyped into unrealistic expectations shaped by movies, not medicine. But real science paints a very different picture. When we look beyond locker room talk and internet exaggerations, research reveals that what women truly desire is far more nuanced. It's about connection, confidence, and compatibility, not just centimeters. Today, we'll break down what studies from respected medical journals have uncovered about female preference, how physical and emotional factors intertwine, and why most of what you've heard about size is scientifically inaccurate. This isn't about judgment or comparison. It's about understanding. Because when we understand what actually drives satisfaction, both partners can stop chasing numbers and start building real intimacy based on trust, pleasure, and communication. Size isn't everything. Satisfaction is multifactorial. For generations, society has linked male confidence and sexual success to one exaggerated metric: size. Yet, scientific evidence has consistently dismantled this myth, showing that women's satisfaction in intimacy is shaped by far more than inches. Sexual pleasure is a complex, multidimensional experience involving physical, emotional, and psychological factors, and size alone accounts for only a small fraction of it. In numerous studies conducted across cultures, women consistently reported that qualities like emotional connection, communication, foreplay, and comfort mattered far more than length. The truth is, human intimacy is not a mechanical act. It's an emotional exchange that thrives on connection and trust. When a woman feels emotionally safe and genuinely desired, her body naturally responds with heightened arousal and deeper pleasure, independent of her partner's anatomy. Research also shows that the majority of the vagina's nerve endings are located near the entrance, not deep inside, meaning that the first few inches are the most sensitive. This biological reality proves that satisfaction is less about depth and more about technique, rhythm, and the ability to understand and respond to a partner's cues. Beyond biology, there's the undeniable influence of the mind. Women's arousal is closely tied to emotional intimacy and psychological stimulation. A partner's confidence, communication, and attentiveness often enhance physical pleasure more than any physical characteristic. When partners engage in open dialogue about desires and comfort, the experience becomes more relaxed, natural, and satisfying for both. In contrast, pressure to perform or meet unrealistic standards can create anxiety that blocks connection and reduces pleasure. Emotional bonding and mutual respect create the foundation of trust that transforms physical closeness into genuine satisfaction. Simply put, pleasure begins in the mind long before it's felt in the body. Foreplay, often underestimated, is another crucial dimension. Studies in sexual health emphasize that extended foreplay significantly increases satisfaction for women because it enhances lubrication, emotional closeness, and anticipation. Touch, eye contact, and communication awaken sensitivity that no measurement could replicate. When a partner takes time to understand what feels good, it builds a feedback loop of pleasure and confidence. This is why so many women report that intimacy with a thoughtful, communicative partner feels more fulfilling than with someone who focuses solely on physical attributes. Real connection happens when both people are tuned into each other's needs, not when they're worried about meeting superficial expectations. In addition, lifestyle and health play major roles in intimacy. Factors such as blood flow, hormonal balance, and stress levels directly impact performance and satisfaction for both partners. Men who exercise regularly, eat healthily, and manage stress tend to have better stamina, stronger erections, and higher confidence, all of which enhance overall sexual experiences. Women, too, respond more positively to partners who exude calm assurance and attentiveness rather than insecurity or ego. It's not the size that creates satisfaction, but the energy, rhythm, and presence brought into the moment. Ultimately, the idea that bigger is better has been marketed and magnified far beyond reality. The truth is that satisfaction is multifactorial, an intricate dance of body, mind, and emotion. What most women genuinely desire is a partner who listens, learns, and leads with empathy rather than pride. They seek emotional closeness, humor, trust, and effort. Science repeatedly proves that intimacy built on understanding and connection outlasts and outshines any physical measure. When men free themselves from the obsession with size and instead focus on communication, foreplay, and emotional engagement, they unlock a more powerful and fulfilling form of intimacy. Confidence, kindness, and curiosity are the true foundations of satisfaction. Not inches, but intention. Science shows an average preference range when it comes to what women actually prefer in terms of size. Science offers clarity where myths have long reigned. Over the years, multiple studies have been conducted to understand what women truly value, and the results consistently reveal that most women favor an average range, not the extremes portrayed in media. According to scientific surveys published in journals like PLOS ONI and the Journal of Sexual Medicine, women reported a preference for a penis size around 5 to 6 inches in length when erect for long-term partners and slightly above average for one-time encounters. The difference, however, was minimal, proving that the obsession with extraordinary size is largely unfounded. The findings highlight a simple truth: what women value most is not sheer length, but how well their partner connects, communicates, and uses what he has. The human body is built for compatibility, not competition. Anatomically, the average vaginal depth is between 3 to 4 inches when unaroused and expands to around 5 to 6 inches when aroused. This means the average man and woman are naturally well matched. Science, not speculation, confirms that nature designed intimacy to function comfortably within this range. Another aspect these studies revealed is context. Women's preferences differ slightly depending on whether they imagine a long-term relationship or a casual encounter. For committed relationships, emotional compatibility, safety, and comfort take precedence, with most women preferring an average size that feels natural and less likely to cause discomfort. In contrast, for short-term or purely physical encounters, some women expressed a preference for slightly larger sizes, associating them subconsciously with novelty and excitement rather than emotional connection. But again, these differences were small and not statistically significant. In essence, while variety in preference exists, extremes remain rare. The science tells us that most women are not chasing after an idealized, perfect size. They simply value a partner who knows how to create mutual pleasure and emotional connection. It's also important to recognize that perception often distorts reality. Studies have shown that men frequently overestimate what they believe women want, largely due to cultural messages from adult films and social media. These unrealistic portrayals create anxiety and self-doubt that can actually harm performance and intimacy. Meanwhile, when women are asked anonymously about what matters most, their responses focus on technique, attentiveness, and emotional chemistry, not on dimensions. This gap between perception and reality fuels insecurity where none is needed. The scientific data suggests that women are far more concerned with how they feel during the experience, emotionally and physically, than with measurements. A confident, caring, and communicative partner often delivers more satisfaction than any other factor. Physiologically, the reason lies in how the female anatomy responds to stimulation. The majority of nerve endings responsible for pleasure are located within the first few inches of the vaginal canal and in the external clitoral structure, which surrounds it like a ring. This means that the deeper areas are less sensitive, so beyond a certain point, increased length contributes little to pleasure and can even cause discomfort if excessive. Girth or width, on the other hand, tends to play a slightly greater role in creating pleasurable friction and a sense of fullness. Even then, the most satisfying experiences arise when there's balance, comfort, and mutual responsiveness, not size dominance. Ultimately, science debunks the myth that size determines satisfaction. The numbers don't lie. Most women are content, comfortable, and fulfilled with partners within the natural average range. What transforms intimacy from ordinary to exceptional is emotional connection, confidence, and attentiveness. Women appreciate men who listen, adapt, and show care more than those obsessed with self-comparison. The true measure of a fulfilling relationship lies in compatibility, physical, emotional, and psychological. Understanding this empowers both partners to move past insecurity and focus on what truly matters: shared pleasure, trust, and confidence. Science has spoken clearly. It's not about how much you have, but how well you use what nature gave you, with respect, passion, and awareness. Girth matters more than length. When conversations about sexual satisfaction arise, most people instinctively think about length. Yet, according to science, girth plays a far more significant role in creating pleasure for women. This may come as a surprise, but medical research has repeatedly demonstrated that the width, or circumference of the penis often provides a greater sense of fullness, comfort, and stimulation than length ever could. The reason lies in anatomy. The majority of the vagina's sensory nerve endings are located near the entrance and along the vaginal walls, not deep inside. Because girth allows for more consistent contact with these sensitive areas during movement, it produces heightened friction and stimulation that many women describe as more pleasurable. In contrast, excessive length can sometimes cause discomfort or even pain by reaching too deep or hitting the cervix, which is not designed for pressure. Therefore, nature itself has crafted female pleasure to respond best to width, rhythm, and motion, not depth or distance. Studies published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine and POS ONI further confirm this point. In one research experiment, women were shown 3D printed models of various sizes and asked which they found most appealing for both short-term and long-term partners. The majority chose models with moderate length but slightly above average girth, suggesting that comfort, fullness, and fit matter more than extremes. Women's comments in these studies also revealed a recurring theme. Width provides a sense of closeness and friction that feels more satisfying and physically engaging. This insight changes the traditional conversation around size by shifting the focus from how long to how connected. It emphasizes that sexual compatibility is not about pushing boundaries, but about finding harmony between partners' bodies. The psychological component adds another layer of understanding. Many women associate a comfortable and full sensation with emotional security and deeper intimacy. When the physical experience feels balanced, neither too shallow nor too invasive, it creates an environment where both partners can relax and connect. This comfort encourages women to be more responsive, confident, and engaged during intimacy. In contrast, discomfort caused by excessive length can lead to tension, which reduces natural arousal and pleasure. Thus, girth is not merely a matter of physical sensation. It also contributes to emotional ease, communication, and satisfaction. In relationships built on mutual respect and understanding, partners learn to focus on rhythm, pressure, and connection rather than fixating on numbers. Furthermore, scientific understanding of the clitoral structure reinforces why girth matters. The clitoris is not just the small external nub most imagine. It is an internal network that wraps around the vaginal canal, forming a wishbone-like shape. This means that consistent, gentle pressure along the vaginal walls, something that adequate girth can provide, stimulates these internal clitoral branches, resulting in deeper and longer lasting pleasure. Because of this design, even minor differences in width can dramatically affect sensation, whereas additional length beyond the vaginal capacity provides little benefit. It is also worth noting that every woman's body is unique. Some prefer a tighter fit, while others enjoy a slightly wider one, but extremes on either end rarely lead to greater satisfaction. Another key takeaway from urological and psychological studies is that the perception of size often depends on confidence and emotional connection. A man who feels secure, attentive, and attuned to his partner's responses can create a more pleasurable experience than one focused solely on size or performance. Emotional engagement heightens arousal, increases lubrication, and deepens pleasure. In essence, technique and connection amplify girth's impact, making every movement feel more meaningful. Slow, mindful rhythm, varying angles, and mutual communication all enhance sensation in ways no physical measurement alone could replicate. Ultimately, the science is clear. While society glorifies length, women's bodies respond most positively to girth, and even then, only within the context of trust, comfort, and emotional connection. What truly matters is not the pursuit of size but the pursuit of synergy. A partner who listens, adapts, and connects on a physical and emotional level will always create more satisfaction than one chasing unrealistic ideals. Girth, when combined with confidence, attentiveness, and care, transforms intimacy from mechanical to meaningful. It reminds us that the secret to pleasure isn't found in inches but in understanding, in the art of connection, communication, and responsiveness that turns ordinary encounters into extraordinary moments of shared passion. Confidence and communication trump measurements. In the world of intimacy, confidence and communication are far more powerful than any physical attribute could ever be. Science and psychology both affirm that emotional connection and open dialogue are the strongest predictors of satisfaction in relationships, not the inches or shape of a man's anatomy. What many men fail to realize is that women are far more attuned to how a partner makes them feel rather than what he looks like. Confidence radiates through tone, touch, and presence. It conveys assurance, safety, and passion. Three elements that turn a physical act into an emotional experience. A confident partner doesn't seek validation through performance, he creates comfort through understanding. This self-assurance, when combined with genuine care, builds trust, and that trust is what allows true pleasure to unfold. When a woman feels emotionally safe, her body naturally relaxes, her arousal deepens, and the entire encounter becomes more fulfilling. Confidence, therefore, is not arrogance. It is quiet certainty, the unspoken message that says, "You're safe with me." Communication, on the other hand, is the invisible bridge that transforms desire into connection. Studies in sexual psychology repeatedly show that couples who talk openly about their preferences, boundaries, and fantasies experience higher levels of satisfaction and emotional closeness. Talking about intimacy doesn't ruin the mystery, it deepens it. It allows both partners to understand what feels good, what doesn't, and how to make each other's experience more enjoyable. Sadly, many people still shy away from these conversations due to embarrassment or fear of judgment, but real intimacy cannot thrive without honesty. Women, in particular, report feeling more satisfied when their partners ask questions, listen carefully, and adjust accordingly. This attentiveness communicates respect. It tells them their comfort and pleasure matter. When couples replace silence with curiosity, intimacy becomes a shared journey rather than a performance. Confidence and communication also directly influence physiological responses. Psychological research has long proven that anxiety and insecurity can interfere with sexual function, leading to performance issues and emotional detachment. On the contrary, confidence calms the nervous system, enhances focus, and allows both partners to remain present in the moment. Similarly, communication fosters anticipation and connection, which heighten arousal. When partners are emotionally in sync, their bodies respond more naturally and powerfully. This explains why so many couples describe their most memorable experiences not as those filled with perfection, but with presence, when they laughed, communicated, and moved together in harmony. Real satisfaction stems from authenticity, not performance. Confidence also builds through self-awareness and acceptance. Men who understand their own bodies, prioritize their health, and let go of comparison are often the most fulfilling lovers. They channel their energy into learning, improving stamina, and strengthening their emotional connection instead of worrying about size. When a man is confident in his identity, when he feels strong, healthy, and emotionally grounded, his partner senses it. That emotional energy translates into physical chemistry. Women naturally respond to confidence that feels secure, not controlling, passionate, not pretentious. It's not about dominance, but about presence. The ability to stay engaged, to listen, to adapt. This kind of confidence cannot be faked. It's earned through empathy and maturity. Ultimately, every study on sexual satisfaction circles back to one truth: confidence and communication create the deepest connection. No measurement can compensate for emotional absence, and no perfection of technique can replace honesty. The most intimate experiences happen when two people are fully present, when they speak openly, move in rhythm, and trust each other enough to be vulnerable. That's where real pleasure is found. So, rather than chasing unrealistic ideals or comparing oneself to digital fantasies, men should invest in developing self-assurance and emotional intelligence. A confident, communicative partner turns intimacy into an art. One that thrives not on size but on sincerity. Because in the end, what women truly want isn't perfection, it's connection. And that connection is built not by what you have, but by how you make her feel, seen, heard, and desired. The real focus, performance, not perfection. When it comes to intimacy, the true secret to satisfaction has little to do with perfection and everything to do with performance. Not in the sense of pressure or showmanship, but in how well two partners connect, communicate, and create shared pleasure. Many people, especially men, mistakenly believe that being perfect, in size, stamina, or technique, is the ultimate goal. Yet, studies from sexual health experts reveal that what matters most is how you perform in terms of awareness, rhythm, and responsiveness, not flawless execution. Real performance is about presence, the ability to stay connected with your partner emotionally and physically, to sense her cues, and to respond in a way that feels natural rather than rehearsed. It's about being fully engaged, not distracted by self-doubt or comparison. Women consistently report that the most satisfying experiences come not from partners who seem perfect, but from those who are attentive, confident, and emotionally connected. Performance in intimacy begins long before physical touch. It starts with emotional connection, trust, and anticipation. A partner who takes time to listen, to flirt, to create emotional warmth sets the stage for a deeper physical connection. Research in the Journal of Sex Research shows that emotional bonding and affectionate behavior directly increase sexual satisfaction in long-term relationships. This means foreplay is not merely a prelude, it's part of the performance itself. Touch, eye contact, humor, and verbal communication build excitement and comfort, allowing both partners to relax into the experience. In this environment, pleasure flows naturally because both are emotionally synchronized. Perfection, on the other hand, creates anxiety and pressure, both of which block natural desire and reduce performance quality. When partners focus on being perfect, they lose the ability to be present, which is where true intimacy thrives. Scientific evidence also proves that physical performance depends more on overall health than on anatomy. Factors like cardiovascular fitness, testosterone levels, and stress management have a greater impact on stamina and erectile strength than any other variable. Men who exercise regularly, eat a balanced diet, sleep well, and manage anxiety through mindfulness or meditation tend to perform far better than those chasing unrealistic ideals. Performance, therefore, is holistic. It's about taking care of the body and mind so that both can function optimally in moments of closeness. Moreover, sexual endurance isn't just physical, it's psychological. Confidence, calmness, and emotional control allow a man to sustain arousal longer, stay connected, and focus on his partner's pleasure as much as his own. Women also value effort over flawlessness. A partner who communicates, explores, and adjusts creates an experience that feels personal and passionate. This is where performance becomes art, not mechanical movement, but mutual rhythm. The more a man tunes into his partner's reactions, the breathing, the body language, the subtle changes in energy, the more he can guide and respond intuitively. This dynamic creates satisfaction far deeper than any physical ideal. It's not about being perfect every time, it's about growing together, learning what works, and adapting with empathy. Couples who focus on discovery rather than judgment experience stronger bonds, better communication, and more fulfilling intimacy over time. In truth, perfection is an illusion, but performance is real, achievable, and constantly evolving. The best lovers are those who embrace imperfection, who turn mistakes into laughter and awkward moments into connection. They understand that real pleasure comes from authenticity, not performance anxiety. When a man prioritizes his partner's comfort and pleasure, he naturally becomes more confident, capable, and fulfilled. The focus shifts from trying to impress to trying to connect. And that's where genuine satisfaction begins. Science supports this fully emotional connection. Mutual respect and adaptability are far stronger predictors of sexual success than size, looks, or perfectionism. Ultimately, the goal isn't to be perfect, it's to perform with heart, presence, and intention. Great intimacy is a shared dance, not a solo performance. It's about rhythm, not repetition, feeling, not flawlessness. When both partners approach each encounter with openness and care, every moment becomes an opportunity for growth and joy. The best performance doesn't happen when you try to prove something. It happens when you simply let go, stay present, and give your partner the gift of full attention. That's what real satisfaction is built on, not perfection, but passion, patience, and presence.